Why are the Imams not mentioned in the Noble Qur'an? That's a fundamental question. Number one, the Qur'an mentions Hajj. It mentions fasting. It mentions the Zakah and the Salah. But it does not go into the details. Number two, some argue that since the topic of Imama, divine leadership, is so principal, is so important, it should have been mentioned explicitly in the Noble Qur'an. Why? To avoid misunderstandings between the Muslims. But we know that very important topics are mentioned in the Noble Qur'an, and we still see misunderstandings and we still see conflicts among the Muslims. Like what? Like Tawheed, like Nubuwwah, prophethood, like Ma'ad, Judgment Day. We have all of these topics which are the roots of the religion, also called Usuluddin. All of them are mentioned, but still we see that these three fundamental tenets of the faith are still under question. People still ask questions about them. People still have conflicts and misunderstandings and different interpretations about them. Number three, if the names of the Imams had been mentioned, it would have been too difficult for the Arabs at that time, with the tribe mentality that they had at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, to accept this. They would have a hard time to digest this. And nothing would have remained of the Noble Qur'an because of the resistance of the Arabs. The Qur'an might have been altered, tahrif al-Qur'an. It might have been corrupted. Number four, in Al-Kafi, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam was asked about this. How come that the 12 Imams are not mentioned in the Noble Qur'an? And Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam answers by reciting this verse: Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. That's chapter 4 verse 59. Obey Allah, obey the messenger, and those in authority among you. This is the verse that Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam mentions as a proof of the Imams after the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Number five, just imagine what the Quraysh, what the Bani Umayyah and what the Bani Abbas would have done if they knew who the Imams were, if they knew who the children of the Imams were. They would have done the same thing as Pharaoh did with Bani Israel, to kill all the infants, all the male infants. They would have done the same thing. Why? To keep their authority, to keep their power, so that nothing would threaten their authority. Number six, many important people are not mentioned by name in the Noble Qur'an. For example, you have Luqman al-Hakim and Dhul Qarnayn. They are mentioned even though they were not prophets of God. On the other hand, you have Khidr, you have Uzair alayhim as-salam, who are prophets but are not mentioned by name. Nabi Khidr alayhi salam was the master and teacher of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, but he's not mentioned in the Noble Qur'an. And the same applies to Prophet Uzair alayhi salam. Among the four most honored women in the world, Sayyidata Nisa al-Alameen, the most honored woman in the world, you have Fatimatu Zahra, you have Khadijatul Kubra, you have Asiya, the adopted mother of Musa alayhi salam. None of these three of the four honored women are mentioned in the Noble Qur'an. Of these four honored women, you only have Lady Maryam salamullah alayha, the mother of Isa Masih alayhi salam, being mentioned by name. But what happened with the other three? None of them are mentioned. So if you could have a conclusion, the absence of the name of the Imams in the Noble Qur'an does not diminish their significance, as the Noble Qur'an often addresses critical concepts like prayer, monotheism and resurrection, ma'ad, without specifying every detail. The Qur'an mentions the salah, the zakah, the Hajj, but does not mention the details. Naming the Imams explicitly could have caused severe resistance among the early Arabs, potentially the corruption of the Noble Qur'an, the distortion of the Noble Qur'an, or the rejection of the whole Qur'an. And on top of that, just imagine what the enemies of Islam would do. The enemies of Islam, like Quraysh, like Bani Umayyah, like Bani Abbas, would have massacred the Imams and their children. Thus, to really reach a conclusion about the Imams, you need to refer to the narrations.